Mindseye, a game many called one of the worst they've ever played, broken by bugs, clunky gameplay, and bizarre features that made no sense. It launched as both a technical and creative failure, leaving behind a wave of disappointed players and brutal reviews. But months have passed and updates have dropped, and the big question remains, has it actually improved or is it still a complete disaster? Words speak louder than actions, so let's find out. Many complained of the horrid performance this game delivered at launch, with pop-ins and horrible FPS drops. It just was not a fun experience whatsoever. Even high-end systems would struggle during particular missions, which really made things difficult to focus on the masterful storytelling and expertly crafted mission design. And what you might be surprised to find is things are different now. I tested this game during some pretty intense set pieces, and look, the FPS drops are far less noticeable. Flying drones across this incredibly vibrant and alive city feels way more stable than before, and the Scorsese directed cutscenes are butterly smooth, and there is no doubt it runs light years better when compared to launch. But that's also useless like tits on a nun if the gameplay is still absolutely shite. So first, the driving really wasn't that bad at launch despite what some people say. Yes, the physics were dogshit, but the actual car handling wasn't the worst. And playing it now, I think it beats a lot of Ubisoft games when it comes to car handling. And I know that's not really saying much, but at least it has that going for it. But let's dive a bit deeper into the gameplay. So what is actually new in Mindseye? Well, if you don't fancy watching the cutscenes, which do often feel very drawn out, you can now skip them by pressing the start button. A basic feature that should have been there from day one, but we'll take it. They also tightened up hitboxes, and apparently there has been some improvements to the enemy AI intelligence, and that really sparked my intrigue. So I decided to test this quite extensively, and yes, I do agree that enemies aren't quite as dumb as your nan's curtain rails anymore, but they certainly aren't getting any master degrees anytime soon. As you turn around corners, you'll still see them standing there waiting for you, utterly gormless like a deer in spotlights. And what I found more disappointing and almost bizarre was this section in the game where enemies spawned upstairs and I sneakily caught them facing a wall and shooting through it. And I could have sworn I was taking damage during this mission, but I kind of can't say for definite, and it doesn't look pretty. However, what I think is far worse is the enemy physics. It impacts the gunplay more than you might think, and it really hasn't been improved. And the way enemies die and ragdoll looks so cheap, like you're shooting endless amounts of blow-up sex dolls. And just like at launch, it makes all the guns feel very samey with little impact. Even the more difficult to kill enemies feel piss easy.
No, these ones are harder to kill.
And it's hard to see where the AI improvements actually are, especially when you get into an elevator and Rigby's overwhelming foot fetish gets the better of her, and she can't stop looking at your god-to-hell feet. The cover system at least works as it should, but gunplay just hasn't been improved much. So the core combat still isn't pretty, and the gameplay is lacking in areas. But maybe they have redeemed themselves with more content and expanding the free mode. Paying full price feels even more outrageous so far, and that's why I just want to quickly mention this video's sponsor, Instant Gaming. They sell the newest and most popular games at some really good prices, and it's a place I've personally been buying all my games from for a few years now. It's always worth just having a quick look at their latest sales and deals, and you'll never buy from Steam, Xbox, or the PS Store ever again. And I'll leave a link in the description down below, but back to the video. Now look, I'm going to make one heck of a statement here, but Mindseye literally had one of the most bizarre free roams I've ever experienced. And it was a mode that was such a mystery that even this knobhead would spend about a lifetime trying to figure it out. And here is why. You played as a random decrepit old bastard who bums gas masks. You spawn in some random building, which I would tell you the location of, but the game doesn't have a damn map for Pete's sakes. You can play the drums, look at a nonce cam, and fiddle with a drone. The only car you could drive was some knockoff Yaris looking thing, and you were left to your own devices in a location with no map, no no ability to steal cars, no cops, and just a random bunch of missions. Basically the definition of a 10 out of 10 free mode. Considering the time that's passed since launch, I loaded this up expecting some changes, maybe some new content added, or even an explanation to who the hell this bloke is, and I kind of excused this at launch thinking it was the start of something they could build upon later. But guess what? If you commit mass murder and repeat hit and runs, cops still don't give a dick. Your car better not have a blowout or dead battery, as your ass will be running about 3 ultra marathons, because you still can't steal a single vehicle, and there is still no explanation to who, what, or why. However, this is where things got a tad interesting. You know how you can make your own levels in Mindseye, and don't ask me why this is a thing or who has the time to give a royal toss, but it's a thing in the game. But what I found utterly ludicrous is if you go into curated content, some bloke has actually made his own free roam mode, and it's somehow better than the official version, and I'm not even joking here. It starts and you can select what character you want to play as, which is immediately better than playing as some gas mask wearing nonce case, and I naturally picked the utter sludder of course. You go outside, and no, you can't steal vehicles, that's a bit too good and a bit too much, but if you start shooting a gun, you actually get a 1-star wanted level, and the police actually come after you. And yes, you do see them appear into thin air like some David Blaine level shit, but my god, this is actually better than the official game free roam, as you murder more innocents and commit mass murder. The wanted level increases, and that's sort of how it should work. And even though it's still not great, at least it's slightly better than the free roam mode we explored earlier. But how hilarious is that some bloke has literally made a better free roam mode than the one in the official game. But gameplay aside, let's just talk about something that doesn't get spoke about enough. Builder Rocket Boy quietly laid off a number of staff back in March, and it's a move that doesn't exactly scream confidence going forward. And yet, Update 5 seems to be going ahead and has been described as another big one, and it includes major performance, combat, and enemy AI system improvement. To their credit, the fact they're still actively trying to fix this game instead of just ditching it altogether does suggest they are trying at least. But here is the ultimate question: did Mindseye actually get any better? The technical answer is yes. It crashes a whole lot less, and it does run a lot smoother, but better is a very long way from being good. The content is still paper thin, the world is still deader than a dodo, and the $60 price tag is still kind of ridiculous, to be quite honest. If you were one of the people who regrettably already own the game, Update 4 might be worth checking out if you want to finish it without all the horrific bugs and performance issues. But if you don't already own it, do not pay full price for this game. There just isn't enough content or improvements to make this game worth playing, and I'll give Mindseye the benefit of the doubt and update you again in a few months after more updates. So make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss the best redemption arc in gaming history, or taking the royal piss out of a broken ass game. And let me know your honest thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm very interested to know what you think about this, and to see my honest take on whether the new James Bond game actually looks good or not, just click the video on screen. You definitely don't want to miss this. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.